Roe v. Wade, the landmark 1973 ruling that declared a nationwide right to abortion and other subsequent abortion decisions, are facing the most serious challenge in 30 years in front of a court with a 6-3 conservative majority. It's been remade by 3 appointees of President Trump. Joining me on the Morning Show News4JAX political analyst and the head of the Jacksonville University Public Policy Institute, Rick Mullaney. Rick, good morning.
Good morning.
So with a conservative majority now in place in the nation's court, conservatives hope and liberals fear the court will renounce nearly 5 decades of abortion jurisprudence and overturn a number of landmark rulings. Is this an all or nothing case for the court?
Bruce, it's good to be with you this morning. Let me say this. In the eyes of the litigants, this is all or nothing, but there actually is a middle ground. There is a compromise here. Mississippi, in bringing this case, and those who are pro-life are seeking something very simple. They are seeking to overturn Roe versus Wade and, of course, Planned Parenthood versus Casey. And that is what they will ask the court to do. Those who are bringing the lawsuit, who have sought to have the Mississippi law declared unconstitutional, and it has been declared unconstitutional by the lower courts, are seeking quite the opposite, all or nothing. They want the law declared unconstitutional, and they want an affirmation of the holdings in Roe and Casey. However, there is a potential incremental approach in which the court could uphold the Mississippi law and modify what happened in Casey. Remember, Roe versus Wade in 1973 was the first case to establish the constitutional right for a woman to have an abortion, and it created a trimester framework. In Casey, nearly 19 years later, the court upheld that central holding, but then modified it, imposing a viability test and an undue burden test. You could see potentially the court doing something similar here, which is to modify Casey, and that would be a more incremental approach, not without its challenges, but that is one possibility.
So taking all that into consideration, those who run women's health organizations say this is the most worried they've ever been, with good reason?
There is good reason, Bruce. 3 reasons very quickly. One is that the court even took this case. The fact that the court took this case is significant. Make no mistake, the Mississippi law is inconsistent with, clearly at odds with, the holdings in Roe and Planned Parenthood versus Casey, and they didn't have to take the case. The law was declared unconstitutional by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. That's significant. Second is the composition of the court. It's a 6-3 majority for the conservatives. And if this were a case in first impression, and by that I mean if this were coming to the court for the first time, there's no doubt this court would not have come to the same conclusion as Roe. But it's not a case of first impression. There is stare decisis here, and that will be weighed heavily. And third, this case tees up potentially overturning Roe versus Wade, because this isn't simply about a restriction. This is about a ban in the Mississippi law at 15 weeks for nearly all abortions after 15 weeks, and that squarely is contrary to current law.
So the court's never before even agreed to hear a case over a pre-viability abortion ban, but after Justice Bader Ginsburg's death and her replacement by Justice Amy Coney Barrett, a third of the Trump appointees, the court said it would take up this case. So looking at the makeup, Brett Kavanaugh, is he the key vote here?
He's one of the judges to truly keep an eye on, Bruce, and there's good reason for that. When this case comes up, it's fairly predictable that the liberal bloc of the court, and by that I mean Justice Breyer, Kagan, Sotomayor, all 3 of those judges are going to vote to uphold Roe versus Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey. And one of the conservative justices, Justice Roberts, is going to also vote to uphold. That's fairly predictable. You have 4. They need a 5th vote. And one of the likely places for that 5th vote is Justice Kavanaugh. Although he's conservative, he was fairly unequivocal in his confirmation hearings that he viewed Roe versus Wade as settled law, stare decisis, that it had precedential value. And so he certainly is one of the judges to keep an eye on for that potential 5th vote to uphold Roe and Casey.
You mentioned Chief Justice Roberts. Does he have the sway to convince the court to find a more incremental approach?
You know, Bruce, of all the justices, he certainly is concerned about the stature of the court. He does not want the court to be viewed as ideological. He does not want it to be viewed as a court that simply imposes policy preferences. He wrote the 5-4 opinion in the Affordable Care Act back in 2012 in that case, in that litigation. And he is one who does have influence over other judges. And the answer to your question is potentially yes. I think he will be seeking something that ensures the stature of the court, and he could potentially help advocate for a more incremental approach.
Yeah, he also does not want the court to be seen as political. All that said, oral arguments were set for 70 minutes. Doubt very much they're going to keep to that time frame. Also, don't think we're going to see a decision today. That will probably come later in the term. Rick, as always, appreciate your insights. Thanks for being with us this morning.